Today I will be showing you how to build this white oak kid table. I built it out of white oak to match the aesthetic of our guest room, which is a little bit more on the fancy side. So I added these brass dowels too to match the brass in the room. I am linking free plans below, and if you have any questions, feel free to comment. This plan can be modified to make a bigger dining table as well if you want to go for something a little larger. But other than that, happy building!
I first started off by finding the center of my tabletop. This is very important if you're going to make an oval shape. I use the Miles Craft circle jig and put it on the bottom in the center. I then made sure that my router bit outlined that oval, and I made very shallow passes with my plunge router. This Skills plunge router is awesome. It is a workhorse. But just make sure to make shallow passes each time you make the cut. It will make it a lot easier as you push the router through. And you're going to do this same pass on the other side. I did, but accidentally left a domino out on this one because I used my Festool domino to attach the table. So there's a little bit left there, but no one's going to notice it. So I made the next pass on the other side of the table to create it's almost like a half oval shape on this table, and I will show you next how to cut it so that it looks more like an oval. I used a can for my template to create more of a rounded edge for a real oval look, and my Japanese handsaw is awesome for this kind of thing. It really cuts through it easily, even though it's white oak and it's so hard. It's a great tool to have. So once that was cut through, I used my 120 grit sandpaper to even it out a little bit. I will also make it a little bit more round with my electric sander. I then used my Festool domino to build the base. You do not need a domino to build this table. In fact, the plans include instructions for the Kreg jig, pocket hole jig. If you have a domino, great. If you don't, you can definitely do it without it. When I glued it together, I actually used carpet tape as my clamp. Since this was an awkward angle, the carpet tape worked great. I had really good glue joints, so I didn't need a clamp. This acted as my light clamp. Carpet tape works great for this purpose. My favorite part of this whole project is adding the brass dowels. So any size that you get with the brass dowels, I purchased mine on Amazon, but you can also get them from Home Depot, any hardware store. You use the same size drill bit that you are using for the dowels. And I basically just, drilled on both sides, attached, use a little bit of Starbond to get it in there. I then used my 1/4 inch roundover bit in my router, and I routed both sides of the table. This was really important to me, especially because my girls are young, and anytime you have sharp edges on a table, you run into more of a risk. So rounding it out gave it a little bit more of a softer look, a little more modern, and I think went with the overall oval aesthetic of the table. I then used Rubio Monocoat in Natural. Rubio Monocoat is by far my favorite finish. It makes it so easy to apply. Look how easily that glides right on there, and they don't even sponsor me, and I love them because it makes it so easy. It's a little bit more expensive, but in my opinion, it's worth it. You then buff out the finish and it just looks so clean, so natural. It gives a little bit more of a whitish sheen to it. I then used figure 8 fasteners to attach my tabletop. With figure 8 fasteners, I basically used a Forstner bit that was bigger than my figure 8. If you do one that's the same size as the figure 8, you're going to run into wood movement issues later on. So by using one that's bigger than my figure 8, the wood will be allowed to move. So I made sure both sides were equal, and then I attached with screws. And you can see my little helper's here too. She loves helping me with my little projects, especially because this was her table, so it was even better. And you can see how easily the figure 8s are to attach and still allow for that wood movement. And that is it. If you watch this whole video, thank you so much. Please subscribe to my channel. I will be making more plans.